Innovation is one of humanity's best tools to increase quality of life. My name is Zafirios Georgiou, Director at the European Patent Office in the sector healthcare, biotechnology, and chemistry. While humanity seemed in the past to be powerless against pandemics like plague, cholera, lepra, and the Spanish flu, more recent epidemiologies like HIV and SARS constituted merely a challenge than a powerless feeling. The pathogens could be swiftly identified, genetically studied, and time was invested in fighting the disease or its symptoms. This was due to the collective human knowledge and is based on innovations. Patents play an important role in this context. They have the power to trigger innovation, ensuring results and fostering further research. The technical information published in patents advances human knowledge, helping researchers everywhere in the world to understand the latest inventions and to take innovation further. Here is where the European Patent Office contributes to make our world a safer, smarter, and more sustainable place in the fight against coronavirus. European Patent Office examiners and data analysts have compiled 276 datasets arranged into 4 themes to support the important work of clinicians, scientists, and engineers. Freely accessible in the homepage of the European Patent Office, the relevant public can find all previous patent applications in vaccines and therapeutics, diagnostics and analytics, informatics, and technologies for the new normal. Our examiner, Manuela Nania, experienced in disinfection technology, will walk us through an outline of this useful theme-related product of the EPO, aiming at supporting researchers in their fight against the coronavirus. Manuela, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Zafirios, for your introduction. My name is Manuela Nania, and I work as patent examiner in the team of Disinfection and Unit Operations. In our team, we examine patent applications across 10 technical fields, including disinfection of air and surfaces, as well as other unit operations in chemical engineering. We are 10 examiners with 8 different nationalities, including Italy, where I come from. I would start by saying that the outbreak of the coronavirus led to an immense change of perception. We can effectively identify a time before corona and after corona. To give you an example, before corona, every time I was saying I worked in the field of sterilization, these were the reactions I was getting, as people were immediately thinking of the surgery performed to dogs and cats to prevent them from reproducing. Nowadays, on the other hand, I cannot even finish the sentence that I'm flooded with questions. People want to know what is the best brand for hand sanitizer. They are curious to know the amount of work I have these days. Sterilization and disinfection have in fact become part of our daily lives. Why? Because as the number of infections increased, a question arose, which is namely, how can we limit the spread of the virus? Along with lockdown measures and social distancing, disinfection plays a key role. A greater awareness of the importance of disinfection justifies the increase in the efforts which are being made for developing new solutions. The increase in patent applications we're experiencing in this field results from the need of protecting these solutions. Just to show you some data, if we look at the evolution of patent applications in the field of disinfection, we see an increase of 50% in the last year. If we focus on applications coming from Italy, the change is even bigger, as the applications in the field of disinfection increased by 400% in the last year. Within this framework, a further question arose, namely, how can the European Patent Office best support the applicants? This is why the Fighting Coronavirus platform was created. to help applicants in using ESPASnet to perform state-of-the-art searches in technical fields related to the fight against coronavirus. Ultimately, at the office, we want to foster innovation in Europe. Now, concerning disinfection, we provided a list of keywords classification codes, as well as pre-formulated strategies, which are categorized in terms of target and disinfectant. You have to, in fact, imagine disinfection as playing darts. We have a target, which is what we want to disinfect, as well as a dart, namely the disinfectant employed to hit the target. As of targets, we focused on vehicles, hands, and laboratories. In terms of disinfectants, we focused on ozone, liquids, and UV. The disinfectant we choose is of course related to the target, as well as other factors, including costs and the scale at which the disinfection is performed. One important thing to point out is that this list is not exhaustive, as throughout this pandemic, we are learning that we should and can potentially disinfect everything. But for this platform, we focus on the most common techniques. Practically, the applicants are provided with lists of keywords and classification codes, permitting them to retrieve documents related to a particular target, as you see in this first table, or disinfectant, as you see here. As mentioned before, we also created some pre-formulated strategies in ESPASnet, combining targets and disinfectants. For example, here we show the documents retrieved in ESPASnet dealing with UV disinfection of airplanes. The interested applicants can go through the documents as such. Additionally, they can tick the advanced search button to tune the search statement depending on their needs. Here, I believe, lies the power of this platform. The applicants can in fact use the pre-formulated strategies as starting points and build upon them. Let us assume an applicant is interested in filing an application dealing with the combined use of UV and ozone to disinfect air in airplanes. We have thus three concepts, namely airplanes, UV disinfection, and ozone disinfection. He or she can then use the pre-formulated search I showed you previously and add the concept of ozone disinfection expressed using the keywords and classification codes provided. In this case, the search retrieves 80 documents. The applicant can then go through them to understand the state of the art and identify how his or her invention differentiates from what has been done before. I hope that this presentation allowed you to get familiar with the platform. And at this point, I will pass the word to Zafirios.
Thank you, Manuela, for this very relevant and important insight in the Fighting Coronavirus platform of the European Patent Office with its 276 datasets organized in themes, which is freely accessible to clinicians, scientists, and engineers. Now, we are all curious to observe the results of the research and the daily innovations.